Oh, hi there. How are you? I'm so glad you joined me today. Well, I think we're ready to start another preschool class. And as I was thinking about that, I think we should sing one of our morning songs. And that would be 7 days are in a week. So get your 7 fingers up. Here we go. 7 days are in a week, in a week, in a week. 7 days are in a week. Can you name them to me? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Well, that was great. I'm sure you did a wonderful job at home too. Hey, you might want to practice that a little bit later today so that you can remember the 7 days that are in a week. Well, you know what? Today we're going to talk about a new letter. And that letter is the letter Q. Let's try to write a Q. We're going to start at the top. We put a little dot there so we know where to start. We're going to go around and all the way back up to the top. It looks like the letter O, but there's one thing that's different, and that is Q has a little kickstand. You know what a kickstand is because you have one on your bicycle. After you finished riding your bike, instead of just throwing it over, you put the kickstand down so that it doesn't get all dirty and things. Well, Q must have a kickstand because you know what? Want to know a little secret? He tends to just roll away if he doesn't have his kickstand. So we have to be sure to give Q the kickstand. Now I wonder what baby Q looks like. Does it look like its mama? No. Look at this. Baby Q is a circle too, but he goes all the way down and he kind of curls up like that. Big Q and baby Q. They make a really interesting sound. They make the qua sound. Qua. So the first word that we're going to talk about today that starts with the letter Q is the word question. You know what a question is. When you're reading a book, you might find a sentence that makes a statement, like, I love you. That is true. I love all of my preschool kids. But then there might be another sentence that asks a question. Do you love me? That's a question. And when you're reading a book, you can look for something that's called a question mark. The question mark is at the end of a question. It's okay to have questions. Questions are the way that we learn lots of new things. Sometimes Mrs. Kapenka has questions. She might even have questions for God. And I don't always get the answer right when I want it. And that's okay. You know what the Bible tells us in Psalm 46:10? It says, be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Sometimes we have to be quiet. Another Q word. Question and then quiet. Because sometimes that's the way God answers our questions. And that helps us to be good listeners. I know you're good listeners. And I am so happy about that. Well, I have another Q word here I want to talk to you about. It's quilt. I got my little quilt out today. He's just a little guy. But I like this quilt because it reminds me of all of you. Each one of these different pieces of fabric remind me of my preschool kids. And then when we put all of our pretty pieces together, it makes up our class. And we're a very energetic, enthusiastic, curious class that loves to learn lots of things. So when I see this quilt, it reminds me of you. You know what? I have a bigger quilt that I really do like too. And sometimes when I'm being quiet because I have a question, it's good to get my big quilt out. Because there's another thing we call quilts sometimes, and that's a comforter. Because being cozy and quiet, we get comforted. So quilt is another Q word. Oh, I have another Q word that's a really big word. Wow. Lots of letters in that word, and it's called quarantine. Do you want to learn a big people word called quarantine? We used to go to school Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we would have just such a happy morning. But because of a quarantine, we have to all stay home, and I am able to teach you in your home because we need to stay safe. Sometimes quarantines are important because it helps us be separate from each other so that we can be healthy. And that's what's happening right now. That's why you're learning at home with Mommy and Daddy, and Mrs. Kapanga is in her home, but I get to teach you, and that's really special. So during our quarantine, we're separate instead of being all cozy together in our quilt, but we're being healthy and we're being safe, and that's very important. Well, I have one more Q word I want to talk about, and that's the word quack. Did you see my friend over here sitting in the rocking chair? I love this guy. Old Donald Duck. He loves to quack, quack, quack. Donald says quack, quack. And that's what our word says, quack. Oh, let me see here. What else do I have? I have a fun set of little wooden ducks. They remind me of a song that we used to sing in preschool, and I bet you know this song and can sing it with me. 6 little ducks. Can you get your fingers up? 6 little ducks that I once knew, fat ones, skinny ones, and tall ones too. But there's one little duck with a feather on his back, and he ruled the others with his quack, quack, quack. Quack, quack, quack. He ruled the others with his quack, quack, quack. Down to the river they would go, whittle waddle, to and fro. But there's one little duck with the feather on his back. He ruled the others with his what? Quack, quack, quack. Quack, quack, quack. He ruled the others with his quack, quack, quack. Good job. Isn't that a fun song? Isn't quack a fun word? Let's look at our words. Question, quiet, quilt, quarantine, and quack. I see a pattern. Do you see a pattern? Q-U, 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 Q-U. You know what? Q and U are such good friends that Q doesn't like to go places without his best buddy U. I bet you've got some good friends that you like to go places with. They aren't always together, but most of the time when you see Q in a word, you'll find the letter U. Q, U. And that was our pattern. Well, I have a book that I'd like to read to you about a duck who likes to quack. Dilly Duckling. Let's read it together. One sunshiny day, the duck set off for a family waddle. Little Dilly was the last in line. Peek-a-boo, Dilly said to the fish. Hello, she called to the bugs and dragonflies. Keep up, Dilly, Mama Duck called out. Oh, but Dilly was busy watching a big blue butterfly. She was waddling after it when suddenly, puff, a gust of wind blew out one of her downy feathers. Oh no, gasped Dilly. My feather! It's flying away! Dilly raced after the fluffy feather. Stop that feather! Quack, 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 she said. Whee! The wind blew Dilly's downy feather this way and that away and up in the air and down again. Around and around in circles, Dilly ran dizzily trying to catch it. Come back, she said, but it floated farther and farther away. Dilly flopped to the ground in a daze. What am I going to do? She cried. Do about what? Asked Spike. My feather, Dilly said with a sigh. It blew away. Was it yellow and fluffy? Spike asked. Yes, cried Dilly excitedly. It drifted down the hill, Spike said. Hey, I'll get it. Spike curled himself into a tight ball. He rolled downhill, spinning faster and faster. I'll try to spear your feather on my spikes, he shouted. Whee! Spike cried. Hooray! Quack, quack, Dilly excitedly. Bump! Spike landed in a hedge. Puff! Up flew Dilly's feather again. Slowly Dilly's feather drifted down, down, down until it landed in a field. Dilly and Spike pitter-pattered after it. It's caught on a cornstalk, squeaked Nibble. That's the mouse. I'll get it for you. Careful, whispered Dilly. It's a very, very important feather. Nibble held her breath as she crept through the tall grass. Slowly she climbed the cornstalk. Gently she stretched out her paw. Achoo! Sneezed Dibble as the feather tickled her twitchy nose. Whee! Off went Dilly's feather once again. The wind blew Dilly's feather up, up, up in the sky and far, far away. I'm sorry, Dilly, Nibble called. It's gone. Oh, no, quack, quack, Dilly, as she burst into tears. Oh, poor Dilly, said Spike. Don't cry. Nibble and Spike gave little Dilly a cheer-up hug. I'll never see my fluffy feather again, Dilly said. Oh, no, I'm going to have to go home and tell my mama. Dilly waved goodbye to her friends. Thank you for trying to help me, she called. Mama, Dilly quacked. One of my big fluffy feathers has fallen right out and it's lost forever. Silly Dilly, Mama Duck said, giving Dilly a big cuddle. All your downy feathers will fall out. Then you'll grow new grown-up feathers just like me. Really? Quack, quack Dilly in a surprise. So I'll look just like you? Dilly and Mama Duck joined the ducklings splashing in the river. Look, Dilly cried, there's my feather. So it is, said Mama Duck. But I don't need it any more, do I? Dilly giggled, because I'll grow another one. And quacking happily, she dilly-dallied off to play. That was such a good story about Dilly the duckling. Well, in just a minute, we're going to do a push pause. And you know what I need you to get? I need you to get a pencil and a paper. And if you can find scissors quick, you could get scissors. Then we'll be all set to do a fun activity. Oh, welcome back. Welcome back. We're going to talk about pennies again today, and we're going to add another coin today. Let's count the pennies on my board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did you notice how Mrs. Kapanka touched each penny? That helps me be able to count just the right number. 5 pennies can be traded for 1 nickel. 1 nickel is the same as 5 pennies. Did you get your paper and pencil? I hope so. I had some fun yesterday making some pretend play money. All I did was draw a circle on my paper. So make your circles, then cut out your circles. This isn't very hard at all. What I did was I put an N on one side of my circle and the number 5 on the other side. That way we can practice writing our numbers. And that meant it was a nickel. And then I took another circle that was a little bit smaller, and I put a P on it, and on the back I wrote the number 1 because that's a penny. So I made my own play money. This is going to be a very fun activity for you. And then you can gather up some fun toys and things, and you can play store with somebody using your pennies and your nickels. All right? Well, this has been such a fun day. Thank you again for joining me, and I will see you on Wednesday. Let's sing our little song. I'll see you on Wednesday, on Wednesday, on Wednesday. I'll see you on Wednesday, the next day of school. Bye-bye.